Okay, Mom. Welcome back, guys.
Welcome back.
Hina's Dry Shots.
I know. Oh my gosh. Can Tim Hortons sponsor me, please?
Tim Hortons needs to sponsor me.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I mean, but they need to know how to make a proper desi chai because, like,
I mean, they do.
wait, do you make chai with like leche?
Yes.
Oh, I don't. I don't like.
Oh, what?
No, I actually don't like it.
Okay, so wait, how do you like your chai?
Masala, I don't like that. It's literally like doodh, and then you put like your tea bag in. And
Okay.
it has to be like a Tetley orange pico.
Yeah, you're like my mom.
Oh my god.
So I don't like cinnamon and stuff. Like I don't want a masala
like
chai,
yeah.
but I love elaichi, like cardamom. Sometimes I put a little bit of sauce. Like
Okay, but you know, maybe you like it because your mom is like the Kashmiri chai.
yeah, she is.
Guys, her mom's Kashmiri chai is elite.
It is
elite.
incredible.
She made it for my baby shower.
I remember.
She's the sweetest.
Oh, but she cooks it for hours.
Oh my god, it's the most beautiful pink color.
Yeah, I don't know
how
how she does
gets it.
She did. So the tea leaves are from Pakistan.
Oh,
she
no
doesn't buy them here.
She's a pro.
She's
a seasoned pro.
Yeah. She gets it from like one time she got tea leaves from Peshawar and she just cooks it for like 4 or 5 hours.
Smuggle it in for her. It's like a secret.
Oh my god, honestly. Honestly, they're gonna see it customs and be like, what is this?
It's so funny.
Hilarious.
But
So,
yeah,
yeah.
she has like, and like I guess it's the same thing with our mom, like my mom too, and like all of our moms, that they have these like traditions and
They
like
do.
these recipes that they bring from back home.
Yep.
And now it's something that like we get to experience as well.
Exactly.
Important.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
too. It's amazing.
So I wanted to ask you a question for this episode. I wanted to ask you, when was the first time you realized that your mom is a person?
Like, what do you mean by like a person?
Like, she has her own like thoughts and feelings. Like, she's not just a mom. Like, when she was younger, like she had aspirations or
Oh my
a
gosh,
goal or.
huge. That is like such a good question. I actually have like a really I don't know, for me it was like a really emotional story. But I remember very recently, like I would even say, I think it was like a year or two after I had Emma, I was reading this, it was like, do you follow that account, Humans of New York?
Yes.
And there was a story about like this girl that created these shoes. They were called Atoms. I actually bought a pair of those shoes because of her story, and they were talking about how, she wanted to become somebody, and like her mom wanted to be someone too, and like, like how, she never asked her mom what she wanted to be. So I actually was talking to my mom after. So I would say I realized she was a person very recently.
Oh, wow.
I was talking to my mom and I was just like, oh, like, Mom, like, what did you want to be? And she was just like, oh, what do you mean? What did I want to be? And they don't even think about that.
They don't.
Because I think their whole life, it was just about, we're moms.
Yep.
That's who we are. We live for our kids. And I remember like after I had this conversation and she was kind of confused by it, like, what do you mean? Like, this is what I wanted to be.
Yeah.
But after I talked to her, she was like, I kind of wish that I could have been a teacher. And I was like, oh my gosh, it just makes me like, it made me a little bit sad because I was just like, oh my gosh, like, I think we are given so many opportunities. Like, if we say today, like, oh, I want to be a teacher, we'll just go and be a teacher.
Right?
And then for them, it was like, well, I want to be a teacher, but I can't because I have to sacrifice for my kids. I have to leave my like safety of my home, move to a different country, have kids, raise kids. And I can't just be that. And I think a lot of them didn't even have that previous education to pursue it when they came to Canada or any other Western country, which is like, it kind of hurts your heart because you're just like, they sacrifice so much just to kind of let us do what we want to do.
Right?
Yeah. It's like that thing that they said in Barbie, how they like mothers stand still so their daughters can, I don't remember the exact quote.
I
so
remember.
True. It made me so emotional.
I know.
Oh my gosh. What about you? When did you realize that?
I feel like there are certain moments in my life that I remember like recalling that, oh wow, she like has her own personality and her own like likes and dislikes. And one time I remember that, like I have this vivid like memory of her where she's in the kitchen. We're really young. I don't even think my brothers were born. It's just my sister and I. We're really young, and she was like making a plate for herself. And it was like your typical dal, chawal, some salad, and she was making a plate. And she was like, she took her first bite and she was like, oh my God, this is like the best bite I ever took.
Oh, I love
and I feel like as a little girl, like I just kind of looked at her and said, wow, she has like preferences.
Oh my gosh.
Like she doesn't always like everything.
Yeah.
But there are certain things that she loves, right? And I think that was when I kind of realized that she's an actual person. Like And then a couple of years later, I remember asking her, I want to say I was probably in high school or whatever. I remember asking her, like, did you ever want, like, what did you want to be when you were growing up? And she did the same thing. She kind of like hesitated. And she was like, how she wanted to be a lawyer.
Oh my God.
And I was like, wow, that's incredible. Like, I love to see that you.
So incredible.
Right?
Yeah.
And then at the same time, she laughed and she was like, but I also wanted to be a singer.
Oh my God.
But she was like, I can't sing. And I started laughing and I was like, well, that's hilarious because sometimes like you're with your friends, like we'll be talking and I'm like, oh my God, Hannah, I wish I could sing, but I have a terrible voice. But I know every lyric to every song. Like, you know, I'm going to like
especially all the Drake songs.
Release a Drake track and I'm out here just singing it. I'm wearing, you know what I mean? Like, but she actually, you know, and she probably had conversations like that with her friends.
Gosh, I know.
And I just kind of think back and I'm like, it would be so cool if I got a chance to like know my mom as a young individual.
Sometimes I think about that and I'm like, imagine, you know, you actually got the opportunity to know your mom as a younger girl.
That's
like
crazy.
Our age. Like, how would it be?
How would it be?
I just, you know, I just think like now, maybe it's because we're older, we have kids, there is this newfound respect that I have for them, even though I think that a lot of us growing up, especially like in the desi community, I think a lot of us girls, we've gone through a lot because there's such a high standard for girls.
There is.
Right? And there's also a lot of things that, you know, we don't get the opportunity to do it. There's not a lot of like equality per se. But I just think like, considering everything that they've been through to where they are right now, it just kind of gives you a different perspective that like, oh my God, they've been through so much.
They've been through so much.
And when I think about that, I'm like, I could never do that.
No, never.
Like if somebody told me, okay, today you're moving, like I would even say like, what's like a country that you're moving to like North Korea, okay? Like let's just say, let's just throw it out there, okay? You don't know the language, you don't know anyone there, here's $100, find a way to survive. Oh yeah, by the way, you can get married there too.
Oh my God.
Like even though my mom and dad knew each other, but like still, how do you survive?
I don't know.
How do you even, I don't even know.
I don't even know.
I would be sitting there like, I'm having an anxiety attack.
Yeah.
And they were just so strong.
Yeah, they were.
When you talk to them, I mean, how does your mom talk about her experience coming to Canada?
She talks about how lonely it was.
For sure.
So she always says, like, she doesn't really make anybody feel bad about the fact that there wasn't like halal groceries available all the time. And like, you know, nobody had their licenses when they first got here. And like cars were not readily available and all of these things. But she just talks about how lonely she was here and like not really being able, she was like, recently she said this to me, how sometimes, you know how like religious people will come to your door?
Yeah.
She was like, they would come talking about Christianity. And she was like, I would just try and talk to them for a few minutes just to like have an adult conversation with someone. And I just, it melts me because I try to put myself in her shoes and I get really emotional and I want to take myself out of it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you find yourself doing that.
I feel like now when I think about it, it makes me really sad.
It does.
Because I just wish like, it's almost like a protective thing. Like we're like that with our kids. Like if we see them struggle, it's like we want to protect them. And now our parents are getting older. So it's like we want to protect them. And so I feel like when I think about that and I think about hardships that she's been through, I'm like, I wish that she didn't have to go through that.
Right.
But I have to also say that our parents' generation, they are built different. Like their strength, their resilience is like a level that I don't think I can ever get to that.
I don't think any generation is going to be built like that.
No, I don't. I just feel like, you know, they come from very like strong, I don't know, like presences of people, like strong women and strong men. And it's just odd to me because I feel like they don't come from like an affluent country.
Yeah.
They come from Pakistan, India, and these are like third world countries where there's a lot of poverty and they don't always have everything available to them. And honestly, my mom is not like, she didn't come from like riches, you know what I mean? And so I just think like her strength, and even my dad, sometimes I think about like his strength and all of the obstacles that they had to go through together is something that I honestly wish I could aspire to be that amazing and that strong. I can't even kill a spider. Like I'm like, my daughter's like, Mom, there's a spider, and I'm like, girl, we hugging each other, we're on the side like, and my mom is just like, you know, it's just like they're so different. They're not scared of anything. They're not scared of hard work. It's the craziest thing. Yeah. It's just crazy.
And I love, and I don't know what it is, But like that generation just doesn't complain about
Oh my
stuff.
gosh, I know.
What is it about like that generation just being like, oh, there's 3 million dishes from last night. I'm just gonna quietly go into like, really?
Yeah, and you know, like I know they get frustrated because it's just like major siapa, but like at the end of the day, my mom's calling.
No. Oh, she's a very lovely woman.
But like honestly speaking, I just feel like they're very minty, like they're very hardworking. Like
Yes.
my mom is the type, I'm not even kidding, we laugh about this at my house, that like she's like a Jill of all trades. Okay? Like I remember my dad was like, my mom's like, oh yeah, we need to like sand these cabinets and like varnish them. And my dad's like, yeah, I'll do it. Because my dad was like really into like construction and all that stuff. He was very good at it. And like you come home the next day and my mom is like sanding cabinets, putting the varnish on. Like she's that type of woman.
Amazing.
And she cooks and she's a very good cook, and she cleans, and she's just so good at everything.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'm just like, my God, like where did you get this talent from?
Putting us to shame.
Right? I just think about it and I'm just like, it's so amazing to have like strong women in our life like that. However, and I mean, I want you to talk on this too, because I feel like there's also us as that their children, the next generation after theirs, that also sometimes feels like there's a lot of childhood trauma. Because like even for myself, sometimes I'm like, oh my God, like it was too much. Like I had a very strict upbringing and like I couldn't do anything and I couldn't experience the things that I wanted to. But sometimes I also look at that and I think like now I look at that. When I was in high school, I was like, I hate my life. But like now when I look at that, I'm like, it's because they were scared. Like they were scared for us.
Yeah.
They didn't want anything bad to happen to us, so I think they just held us really tight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, like I can completely understand where people can say childhood trauma. And of course there are definitely parents that are not good parents and they are abusive to their kids. That I 100% get. But I think like, what do you think about that? Like,
I feel like everybody carries childhood trauma. I feel like our kids are gonna carry childhood trauma.
For
like there isn't ever. First of all, parenting is not perfect.
Yeah.
Like no matter what generation it is, no matter what struggles we face, it's not perfect.
Yeah.
And I think what I'm slowly finding is that things that I'm going through, that I'm struggling with as a mom, my mom can't relate to.
Yeah.
So as much as I want to turn to her for advice, she'll kind of look back and be like, I don't really know what to tell you to do.
Yeah.
And that's fair enough for her. I'm not expecting an answer from her. So I feel like there's a lot of trauma that we've all carried. Yes, the parents were strict, and yes, we all, were like figuring things out, and we were trying to fit in.
Yeah.
And we were like, our parents don't understand, and they're backwards, and we want to do this, and we want to do that. And in hindsight, you look back at it, and you're like, yeah, well, I didn't get a chance to experience a bunch of things, and I didn't get a chance to like be who I was, or maybe I'm not so confident in myself because I was never like told, oh, you're an amazing individual, right? Like affirmations weren't a thing in our home.
Same with like, did your parents always say like, Aruj, I love you?
No, I actually don't remember the last time I've said that to my parents.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I like that to me is like a big thing. I feel like I say it a lot more now.
Yeah.
To my mom. I just told her that I love her, but I also think that our parents, like even when I asked my mom like, why weren't you guys more affectionate? Because you see all these like, no offense to the white people, but like you said, John's dad is like, Johnny, I love you so much, honey. And I'm just like, I wish my mom would say that to me. But I think they just came from like this background where like they were very like different. Like it was almost like showing affection like that was like considered like a weakness, or they didn't know how to do it.
Yeah, I agree.
So like my dad's dad, he's like a military man. Mm-hmm. Like he showed love in a lot of ways, but he wasn't very like, I love you. Like he wasn't like that. My dad wasn't like that. But I knew my dad loved me. Mm-hmm. And same with my mom. Like she's very like, now she's a lot more affectionate and stuff like that. But I think that you're right about that, because I think we carried that because we felt maybe a lack of it from what we saw around us. And I also think kids in general, we need that, right? Like we show that to our kids now too. But I just, to what you said, like, I think there's always going to be a certain amount of childhood trauma. And like there's things that I try to explain to my mom and I don't think that she gets, especially when it's around feelings and emotions.
Yes.
I think that for them, it's just like, but why?
But
like, why is
what do you
that
mean?
serious?
Why are we talking
Why
about
are you
this?
so emotional?
Yeah.
Why are you so sensitive?
Why is this such a big deal?
Yeah.
Don't make this into such a big deal.
Yeah, but I also think it's a learning curve for them, and they are also learning along the way. And I hate to say this, I know it sounds like an excuse, but it's hard to change habits. So they're so set in their ways, and they're like older now, and changing those habits is hard. But I think you just kind of have to keep on telling them certain things, and they do get it.
Yeah.
They do understand. It's just, they're just from a different time.
They are. And you know, in their shoes, they did what they could.
They did their best.
They did their best with whatever means they had in whatever environment they were in. Like, for example, I think my biggest, I want to say, barrier when it comes to understanding between things that I'm going through versus what my mom had gone through is putting my kids in childcare.
Yeah.
And like, my mom didn't do that. She's a stay-at-home mom. She never put any of us in childcare. And so she doesn't really understand kind of like the anxiety that I get, like how I get worried, how I'm like constantly on the ECEs about certain things, and how I ask certain questions, and everything has to be done in a certain way, and I need the reports, and I need the daily, you know, and I go and I say, listen, I have these goals for my kids. You need to be working on these goals.
Yeah.
You know, and she'll be like, why do you, she's like,
Yeah.
isn't it just daycare? Like, are they, I'm like, no, it's not though.
Yeah.
And there's a certain level of like, you know, thing that, and then she was like, oh, okay. So when I was on my mat leave, she was like, well, you don't need to put your kids in childcare. You're home now.
But I do need to put them in childcare.
Exactly. And so, and that's still a constant battle.
Yeah.
You know, another issue that I have with my a lot of the older generation, I'm not even going to say my mom, I'm going to say a lot of the older people that I know in my life, is I have a very strict bedtime for my kids. And I have not budged from that bedtime. Like, dunya idhar ki udhar ho jaye, my kids are going into bed at the same time every day.
I'm the same.
And
I'm the same.
People cannot wrap their heads around it.
Yeah.
What do you mean you're not coming to a wedding with your kids?
Right. Where are
I'd
your kids?
rather
You
not
never
come
bring
with my
them.
kids.
100%.
Oh, am I never gonna meet your kids? Am I never gonna meet? No, you know what? You're not.
Because that they never did. Like, I remember there's like family videos where it's like 12 o'clock and I'm like half asleep, half on the sofa, half off the sofa, and I get their technique.
Yes.
Which was like, just let them stay up because they'll fall asleep wherever they fall asleep.
Yeah.
And then they'll be used to the chaos, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like, no. Like, I need my sanity.
Yeah.
You know, I need my sanity. My child needs to go to sleep at the same time.
Yes.
And I think that was like one of the big things when I lived with my parents. When I had Emma and I lived with my parents, I tried to sleep train Emma. And my parents were like, she started crying, even like, and my dad was like, this is not good. No, like, you are not allowed to do that to her. No one, I don't know where you guys learned these methods from, but this is torture. Like, you're not supposed to let your kids cry. And I'm like, Dad, like, I would never want her to cry it out.
Yeah.
But like, I'm telling you, even if it was like the slightest little cry, he was like, no, you need to go get her. You need to go get her right now. And I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, if it was us, it was like, be quiet.
Yeah. That's the thing. I think it's because we lived on our own this whole time. So I did what I had to do.
Yeah.
I had my own arguments with Farhan about it too, because it was a new idea for him and for me too. I'm no expert.
For sure.
But you know what, you guys? I was really losing my mind, and the sleepless nights were really getting to me. I had to do something about it. I couldn't. And I just tried. I tried during one nap time. Farhan wasn't home, and I was home by myself, and I was like, Aruj, you're just gonna try. And I put Ibrahim in the crib.
Yeah.
And he was awake, he was fed, changed everything. Everything was done.
Yeah.
Put him in the crib, and I walked out and I closed the door.
Yeah.
And he was wailing. Oh my goodness, that cry, I will never
Pulls at
forget.
your heartstrings.
And you wanna know? I had my baby monitor and I sat on the tip of the stairs and I was like,
Oh my gosh.
and I was staring at him.
That's bringing back memories, girl.
And I was like praying, Allah, please just let him sleep.
Yeah.
Come on, Ibrahim, you can do this. I believe in you, you can do this. And I was like, okay, Aruj, look at the time, 5 minutes. And I'm talking to myself.
I know.
And I'm just talking myself through it. And all of a sudden I'm looking at the camera and like his thumb is in his mouth. And I was like, ooh, okay, so we're making progress. Because my kids don't take pass.
Yeah.
They never took pass first, none of them. And then 45 minutes later, I'm looking at the camera and he fell asleep. I didn't do it. He did it. I didn't do anything. He did it by himself. And I sat there and I was like, okay, you know what?
I did it.
This is gonna, and he did a full nap. It wasn't like he napped for 15 minutes and was awake.
Yeah.
It was a full nap. And I was like, okay, so I can do this. I can do this.
exactly.
And then the second nap rolled around. We did it again.
Yeah.
Guess what? It went down to 12 minutes.
Oh my gosh. Instantly, like that.
Instantly in
Wow.
thing. He just knew. He started crying, and then he kind of
so smart. They really are.
They knew. He was like, you know what? She's putting me in here. The cue is she's not gonna come in. You know what? I'm just gonna. And he settled 12 minutes.
Yeah.
And after that, we did that same for night and for all the other naps. And then the maximum it would be was like 5-6 minutes.
Yeah, it gets so much easier.
It gets so much easier. And then eventually, the crying stopped.
I'm not gonna lie, the sleep training, I didn't sleep train Emma because of my parents, obviously. But with Asher, I sleep trained him and it changed my world. It changed my world. So I would still go in after like I would go in after like 7 minutes, and then I would go in after 10 minutes, and then I would increase the time and go in just to kind of be like, shh. But I wouldn't pick him up or anything. And exactly what you said, like initially it was like a really long time. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm the worst mom ever. I'm the worst mom. And then when they actually get sleep trained, you're like, I'm the best mom ever.
Yeah, this is the best thing ever. I'm preaching sleep training. You get to sleep train, and you get to sleep train.
I remember you were telling me that too, and I was just like, I need to try this. Like, what is this? This sounds so amazing. I don't know what this feels like. But it changed my life. Yeah. But you know what? Honestly, I feel like now my mom is like, she understands.
Oh, 100%.
Now she's like, wow, like you guys did a great job.
Yeah. And sometimes when my kids stay a little like awake later, like if it's Eid or something, or we're out with the family, whatever, and they stay awake a little bit later and they get all, woo, I guess I shouldn't be awake at that time. You need a nap. My mom is like, Rouge, these guys need to go to bed. And I'm like, I know they do.
Yeah.
Because she sees it. She knows that. Their body clock is just like, Mom, put me down.
It really is.
I need to lie down on my bed. And I get it. And I just don't, that's the one thing I don't sacrifice on.
But I think it's important because I also think like as parents, you also get time for yourself.
Oh, 100%. Yes, we do.
Need it. I think that was also the difference because our parents, they never took time for themselves.
They didn't.
That was like, how can I take time for myself?
Yeah.
It was like, if I take time for myself, I'm being selfish.
Yeah.
Like 100%. Like my mom, when I look at her, I'm just like, when did you ever have fun and enjoy life?
Yeah.
Like, what did you do for fun?
Yeah.
What was your fun? And she's just like, you know, I like when family came over and I was just like, yeah, but like, what else? Like, you know, for us, it's like, I'll read a book or like self-care. And my mom's just like, I don't want to get my nails done. No, why would I do that? That's a waste of money. I can do it myself. I'm just like, no, you're coming.
So don't you feel like our moms are also the hardest to gift?
Oh my gosh, so hard to gift. They don't take anything.
They don't take anything.
I have to pull up like the Islamic quotes. Do not, you know, if somebody gives you a gift, you accept the gift. And then she's like, fine, I'll take the gift.
Oh.
But like there was a time, this is so funny. Okay, so there was a time that like my brother-in-law, he actually got my mom like a new stove, okay?
Oh, wow.
And my mom, I was at the house and I was laughing my head off. Me and my brother-in-law were there. He was like, yo, you have to stay with me because she's gonna annihilate me. And my mom was like, I don't care what happens. I don't care if they came to install it, take it back. Like, I'm not accepting it. Like, I refuse. This is too much. And I'm just like, Mom, it's not that big of a deal. And she's just like, no, this is a big deal. I can't do this. Like, this is too much for me to handle. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. But yeah, it's so hard for them. I think it's because like they don't know how to take things and like
That's exactly it.
feel like they're deserving of it.
Yeah. And that's exactly, I feel like if we circle it back, that it goes back to them not giving themselves any time and like not knowing how to accept like that time to themselves. But then I feel like you know, it makes me feel, wow, like you gave up so much for us.
For real.
But now I feel like now that we're older and you're empty nesters, you're sitting at home and you're like, what do I do with my time?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And like my mom's biggest, so have you ever taken that quiz where it talks about love languages?
Yes.
And like I can say right now that like acts of service is my mom.
I feel like that's a lot of
moms. And I want to say part of it is like it has been passed on to me too.
For sure.
Because I know that my love language and for me to show affection to someone is acts of service, especially when it comes to like cooking and inviting people over and like making chai and doing all these things to make you feel.
For sure.
That's me showing you that I care about you.
100%.
Welcome into my home. Like, and I know I get a lot of that from my mom.
I love that. I love that that's in us.
Yes.
Because I think that it's such an important part of like family.
It is. It's a huge value.
Huge value. And I think it just makes you like, I don't know, it just shows how like it's like a way that they showed love.
Yes.
And I think that's also a way that we show love.
Yeah, it is.
And I mean, everyone needs more love in this world.
Don't we all? We know.
But
and so I feel like if you totally circle it back, it's because they did a lot of that. That's definitely my mom's like love language is acts of service. And I find that she like now doesn't really know what to do. And now I find her acts of services are for my kids.
Yeah, that's so
Aruj,
true.
don't cook anything. I want to make this for them. Aruj, I'm gonna come and see them. Aruj, let's take them out. Aruj, I want to do this, and it's amazing, and I love it. But I also feel like now as a mom, but also daughter guilt, I feel obligated.
Yeah.
Right? Like no, my mom's calling. I have to pick up the phone. No, my mom wants to come over. I can't say no. And there's so much.
Like our moms, they do, and they need like a weekly get together.
They do,
where they can just hang out and talk shit about us. I know there's a lot. Like I think if my mom goes back and she's like actually thinks about all the stuff that we did when we were younger, she'd be like, "Yo, my kids put me through the ringer," and like still till this day they. Because honestly speaking, like they have had to deal with a lot of crap, and I think some of it was probably so traumatizing.
I feel like our parents were probably like, at one point they were probably like, why did we have kids?
No, for real. Like there was times when my mom was like, I feel like I did everything right. Like what happened to you guys? I prayed so hard that you guys would be like this. Where did I go wrong?
Oh, I know.
But I think it's all part of the process.
It is.
Because I think we're going to be the same way with our kids, right? For sure. Like I could see Emma saying like, why did you put me in so many extracurriculars, Mom? And meanwhile, I'm like, yo, I wanted you to have the best experience.
Yeah. We wanted to keep you busy and not on your screens all the time.
Yeah, or like not doing crazy things like we used to do.
Yeah.
We're not going to tell you that.
Yeah. You don't need to know.
Yeah.
We're just going to say we couldn't afford these extracurriculars and we sat at home like good girls.
Watching TV all day long. But that's so true. That's so true.
So anyways, guys, we wanted to just wrap this episode up and you guys let us know, when was the first time that you felt like you saw your mom or your dad, any guardian in your life, as an actual person? We'd love to know.
And do you feel like you went through childhood trauma? Or is this us? Are we crazy?
Are we the dramatic ones here?
Could be, but I don't think so.
Anyways, tune in next week. We'll see you guys later.
Take care, guys.
Bye.